with the introduction. So I'm Mike from Adrenaline Armory.
Mike.
Hi.
What
So
up?
first of all, just maybe explain who you are and what you do in the band. I don't know.
Alright.
Let's go
Who's
first.
first?
From left to right.
Is
I
it
don't
me
know
on the left?
if
On my
just
screen?
start.
Okay,
Just
hey.
start them.
Hello, Internet. My name is Mish, and I play drums in Feradur since nearly the beginning. Let's say it like this. And that's all.
Yeah, what up, good people of the internet? Welcome to Adrenaline Armory. This is Mario from Feradur speaking. I sing and I play guitar.
Hi, I'm also Mish, but I play guitar and I make background vocals at Feradur.
Yeah, well, I'm Daniel. I play rhythm guitar in Feradur, and I joined the band in 2015, actually, after the recordings of the first album have been done, and shortly after I joined the band.
So hi, I'm Fridtjof. I'm the bass player for Feradur, and I have actually been here since the beginning. So I'm the last remaining founding member, actually. So kind of a thing to pride itself on.
Yeah, he's the true one. He's the real one.
The real one?
Horns up for Fridge.
The rest of you can just go. We'll just talk to him.
Yeah, maybe that's
Please
for the
don't.
best.
Please don't.
All right. So the next question is the meaning of your band name. Like I actually tried to Google it and I could not figure it out. So I was kind of asked this question anyway. So I'm just wondering what exactly it means and how it came to be.
So maybe I can answer this. It does not mean anything. It is a word. So the word existed before we had a meaning for it. It was just a word that I think in the beginning we had like a brainstorm for band names, and one of our friends he got his hand on the list and he looked at those and he said like, oh yeah, that one is nice, like Feradur, and we're like, it's not saying Feradur on there. It's something completely different. He just misread it, and then it's like, well, let's just stick with that. And so by throughout the years we had moments of maybe explaining the name as like, it's like the French word fer, which means iron, and it's like dur or dur in French, which means hard. So it would be like hard iron or something like this. But those are all just coming after the fact. So it doesn't have a real meaning.
The other one
nice.
is for in Portuguese, Feraduro or Feradura, I think it was. Feradura is a name for a horseshoe, which is also made of metal. So
Okay.
I guess that fits too, but it's also after the
But
fact.
we only found
the
this
real
out,
origin is basically misread.
Yeah.
A
We only
misread
found
word
those
of
meanings
unknown
out,
origin.
like a year ago or two. So I guess.
It's heavy metal. It means hard iron.
For all intents and purposes.
The next question was somewhat answered already. About so the band formed in 2006, and have you been through a lot of members since then, or is it just a few? I mean, some bands seem to switch their members all the time, just whether it's controllable or not. Others are, they're just kind of bound together from the beginning. So I was kind of curious of what your situation was like.
So
yeah, the order is like Fridge was there in the beginning with many people I never knew, and I joined my first practice where Yannick took me. I was 17, so that must have been in 2006. What's going on? Yeah. And Demisch joined like for the recording of the first demo
they
in
were like,
2009.
Hey, you play drums. Oh no, the old drummer was a good friend of mine, Tom. And he was like, hey, do you want to join this band? I suck at playing drums. More or less, that's what he said. So I was like, yeah. And then we had like 2 or 3 rehearsals. And then they said, oh yeah, next month we are going to record like our first recording. And I was a little bit overwhelmed, but it turned out to be okay, I guess.
So I think all in all, we went through, well, we are at our second vocalist now. our first lead guitarist still, our our third rhythm guitar player, I think.
Yeah.
Second
Still
drummer,
on band, yeah.
and well, first bass player still. So
But
Yeah,
you guys are making it sound like we're a carousel, which we're not. It's just like
No.
the usual. You know, there's like a band lineup needs some time to steam to become something that's like a unit or
Right,
something.
right.
So we, especially since we started recordings and writing for Legion,
Mhm.
like which was my first record with the band, we really. I think we really forged a unit out of everyone you can see here. So this is
It's 6
for
years
me.
ago.
For me, as a fan of the band, because I was a fan of the band before I joined. I helped produce the first record and really loved the music. But yeah, for me, it was it's like the most definite lineup of the band because we had the most gigs, the most output, the most productivity in this constellation.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you can say that the first years, the whole lineup change was part of the process of like finding the formation, the perfect formation of the band. I'd say like a lot of bands go through this process, and like the first 1-2 years, like yeah, that guy's great, but he hasn't got time anymore. He just just is not into it, so you just look for another one, and so you got this whole process of interchange uh, from the musician. So I'd say it was like, yeah, a process of finding the core of the band.
Well put.
So next up, influences. I mean, one thing about changing band members is kind of one of the reasons I asked this question next is every time you get a different member, sometimes they have a different influence, a different background, and for the preferences of the style of music or the genre that they like. So what genres or what bands have influenced you to get to like even starting out with metal?
So I'm kind of like a black metal and melodic kind of guy first and foremost. So that's how I started. So when I was like in I think 8th grade or so, I had a classmate and he showed me Immortal and Dissection and the likes, and I was immediately hooked. And that was the kind of music I liked to make and I wanted to make. And I think our first logo kind of looks like a black metal logo in some way, and this was intentional because it was planned in a more black metal-y style, but well, we sucked at writing music, so we didn't know how to write black metal, so we wrote whatever we could, and then maybe then adapted it as our style. So yeah, and in the end, I think as I said, I'm more black metal guy, but then also some doom things, and yeah.
Yes.
For Epimetheus, I brought like some Amon Amarth and At the Gates and more melodeath stuff into it because at that time I was really hooked on melodic death. I never heard the mix of it. I was like Metallica and Fear Factory and Slayer and stuff, and then there was like this death metal but with melodies, and it blew my mind. It's weird. It took like 5 or 6 years into being into metal to realize that there's this whole genre waiting to be developed and discovered.
Yeah, I think what I brought into the band was also like these melodic death metal vibes, but I also listen a lot to like folk metal and more upbeat pagan metal stuff. So I think in a way this also influenced my drumming and brought more of an upbeat vibe to the music, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so. Especially the power metal speed thing.
Yeah,
That's
I like
mostly
power
Demi's
metal
contribution.
That comes together in my playing.
Can agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're more of a dad rock guy, Dan. He's our dad rocker. So
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I grew up with like, the whole classic rock bands like Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Scorpions, kind of stuff. And I'm actually still into that, like Boston, bands like that. And I don't know, I just try to bring the old chunky, crunchy riffs, like I don't know. I listen to a lot of stoner bands. Like my band prior to Feradur, I played in a blues rock band. So um, I don't know if it affects my playing or my influences I bring into the band, but I still try to, keep it a little low, like not too much of a shredder, but more of a, like the
A
chunky
man of
stuff.
understatement.
Yeah.
No, but if you want to check out Dan's influence on the songs, maybe Holy Fire is a good example, because that one is really built on a foundation that Dan brought into the writing process. We came up with like three quarters of the song, and which was basically that big chunky rolling stoner riff that carries throughout the entire song, and the solo, which is a bit more, which has like chaosy kind of rhythm guitar in the back, but really blended well with the death metal tone, because Chaos is a really heavy band, I'd say. So we really try to incorporate stuff like that in an understated way, so you can still listen to it as an old fart who grew up on Manowar, and not throw it in the trash immediately because they're doing that core breakdown thing, and now the breakdown gets slower, and all those trendy stuffs, or like genty stuff with drumming, ghost notes, whatever. But I digress. I come from a more hardcore background, I think. I'd say started out as a hipster listening to indie rock or Midwest emo stuff like that. But I got turned onto hardcore concerts. I really liked the energy and everything. And then when the scene died down, I turned more towards metal, because that was available in my region. I'm not from Luxembourg. I'm like from the Black Forest, like way down in the southwest of Germany. So you have a bit of a different scene there, and I think I bring in a bit of a like eclecticism or something, because I have a lot of different backgrounds that I can draw from, so I can try and bring different stuff together, like in a producer role, because we self-produce our stuff, so it's not easy always to get all the different sheep under the same roof.
Okay.
So the different styles, black metal and dad rock, you wouldn't think immediately of like a coherent mixture, but it's in there. It's in there. It just works. It can all work. It can all work. It's all good stuff. It's all good metal.
Yeah. So you do all your own recording and mixing and everything? I mean, is it all done in-house?
Yeah, mastering is outsourced, but
that's how it should be.
Okay. Yeah. You can have somebody else have an ear for it.
Yeah, because if you master your own stuff, you're basically already handicapped to a level where you can't like psychologically, it's like you've heard this stuff before, and it's not fresh for your ears anymore.
Okay.
And it has to be, in order to do a good job mastering it, like doing the final adjustments and how it translates, and what even is there, what is this music for? Like you're way it's kind of a mind fuck to sometimes do the production things and then base technical decisions or on cold hard facts, while you're really deeply emotionally invested into the material. So that can be hard, but it's I think you can really taste it in the music, because we put our heart and soul and effort into every note. So it's the way we want it to, not like the way some producer wanted it.
Right. Nice. So next up is talking about the EP. Like both the Legion album and your EP both got perfect scores with Adrenaline. There are two different people that listen to it. I listened to it as well. Actually, I made my own copy. Like I burned it onto a CD and I've been playing it in my car probably at least 10, 12 times already. The other day, I
Sweet.
picked my daughter up from college. I still had it playing, and she told me to turn it off, but I left it on. I told her it was cultural because you guys are from a different country, so we had to listen to it.
So apologies to your daughter, but thank you for listening.
Yeah, she's into more into like top 40s and rock and and pop music and stuff like that. So it's when all of a sudden she hears growling, she starts to have a problem with it. But
maybe try giving the new Kylie album a spin with her. that one we can all dig. It's really cool. It's based on disco. It's all called disco, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little Kylie plug for your daughter there.
So I think I think we tried to have, so the songs of the EP, they were mostly written at the same time than the songs for Legion, or during the same time during the recording process. So I remember that at some point Mario decided to write new songs because the recording process kind of got to him. And
yes,
so there is some kind of red thread going through the songs. And I mean, when you listen to Legion and Paracosm back to back, you immediately see what we mean, because they're kind of like blending into each other. But at the same time, I think that, I mean, Legion came out in 2019 and we recorded it 2017 to 2018, I think, or something like this.
Yes.
So this is like 3 years now, more or less. And we also have evolved. So I discovered new stuff. I got into new styles of music, which I had never thought about before. So I think we all kind of naturally evolved as musicians. And so at least for my part, I can say that I tried to bring new stuff to the music and to maybe not be just playing root notes all the time, but maybe try to be a bit more melodic with it when there is space in the song and not clutter it. So I think these are the subtle differences that we made with the EP.
Yeah, there's some sick walking bass toward the end of Tetsuo, when you get like this really militaristic style staccato riffing. When you listen to the bass, it goes do 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 do. It's like a jazz bass line, but in the most unpredictable of places. I fell out of my seat when I heard it. I really loved it. So stuff like that is much more brought to the forefront, like the individual input of everyone, because I think Demisch had a lot of freedom during his session.
Yeah,
we had pre-written drum parts, but it was just we didn't do demos or anything. We just like went for it. Just set up some mics. Was like, hey, Demisch, what do you want to play? And he played what he wanted to play.
Yeah, I took
and it was fine.
It was good.
I took the basic structure of the songs because they already had their structure, and then I more or less improvised on it. Not totally improvised, obviously, but I had in mind what I wanted to play, and then like the rest came from out of myself. Yeah, during
whereas with Legion, it was much more front loaded.
Yeah.
It was much more, Demisch, you gotta play this pattern.
Which I wrote.
Yeah, which you wrote, because you had like notation for everything.
Yes.
And then when we almost finished tracking during Legion, he was like, "Oh man, I forgot those patterns. I had to play. I had to play it exactly like this because I wrote it down."
You had to print out 12 pages with a super complicated drum part in.
Needless to say, that was more.
Like the second verse, whereas like 16 different vibes. It's crazy.
Needless to say, it was more stressful to record Legion than to record Paracosm.
Which was kind of the thing we wanted to do with this EP. We wanted to like ease off a bit, not break balls all the time, not just push ourselves to the bone. Just have it a bit more easygoing, have a bit more of an organic process.
Yes,
organic
process, that's what I meant.
Organic, yes. Very important. Everything organic. We're 100% gluten free, by the way.
So
you won't get any gluten poisoning from our records.
That's
one thing that also changed is that we had not played these songs live. So with Legion, I think almost all of the songs we had, so like 80-90% of the album we had played during shows, and they were kind of developed and redeveloped during shows, and things were added and kept away. But with Paracosm, there was none of this process. So I think we played a small part of Crest of Betrayal at one of our last shows, but it was kind of impromptu, and we weren't really prepared for that. And for the
it was
rest
just
of
a sound check,
and then
we teased everyone to hell. Everyone was like, "This is amazing," and then we stopped, and everyone was mad.
Yeah, just before the song. That's my biggest regret in life to date. I think that we didn't finish the song because we practiced it like in the practicing room just for fun and to get into it, and we could have finished it. It would have been no problem.
Yeah, it would be no
But,
problem
yeah,
at
song
all.
is good. Let's start the set. Forget the song. It's not available yet.
Nice.
So I guess I hope we answered your question in the broad sense.
Yeah. So the next question I had, I'm just probably gonna skip over quickly. It's just about being able to perform live because it's just kind of a sad subject right now.
yeah.
It's all right. We
Um,
have one thing lined up.
There might be if like all the stars aligned and everyone is vaccinated and I don't know, vaccines raining from the skies. Then we can like play a show on May 1st, like the day after Paracosm drops in Trier in Germany. But it's like with 10 question marks and probably not. But
Would be really sick though, because we'd be playing with Disbelief, if you know them.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I think we're looking at maybe July before we can start doing live music again. Certain areas, some places have never stopped, unfortunately. You know, it's like, but you know, it depends on like you know where the location is and stuff too. I mean, there's even it's just in the state of Wisconsin with our 6 million people, there's a huge range of beliefs about this all, you know, the whole thing. You know, stuff. So
I think the big festivals in Germany, they are all like canceled already.
Yeah, they're canceled or they build
Very
up some
big
different
ones,
thing
yes.
with streaming gigs or.
But the Summer Breeze Festival might happen. They put out like a document where you could answer questions about, I don't know, about vaccination and about how you would like it as a visitor of the festival, if you could, for example, not leave the festival during the time of the festival, or if you had to pay more because there would be extra security things, and because there would be testing on the infield and stuff like that, and you could just vote on how much you would agree with those things. So I think they are trying to make it happen. Not sure if it's gonna happen, but yes, it's not
I
canceled.
think it's good and important that they're trying, because
Yes.
I really got some firsthand experience with like COVID conformist shows, you know, like where the whole security concept and everything had to be respected to a T, and there were like police coming to visit. But that was in Switzerland with my other band. We played like a hardcore show in a location which is like which holds 500 people. So, and we played to 150 with Ginger.
okay.
And that was a great gig, but it was really tense because you couldn't go to backstage, you couldn't go to you had to stay in your little compartmentalized area and everything. So it's good that we tried to do a show like this, but I couldn't play like the normal amount of gigs in that way because I'd be stressed to all hell by by March. So I think it's good to like keep it on the down low for a while and just focus on writing, because it's really healthy for a band actually to not have always gigs in the way of like going to the studio and writing, because that takes a lot of time. And now we have that time. And yeah, I think we're pretty well stacked for the future.
Okay, cool. Next question. Since especially because a lot of people who are watch this probably don't know much about your country. I mean, some areas, you know, especially in where I live, you go to one area and it's all country music, and other areas, you know, there's a huge variety. Like how do people around in Luxembourg, what's their viewpoint on the metal? Do you like when you play shows? I mean, do you get a lot of different people showing up? Is it the same handful of people each time, or?
a mix of both, I'd say. It's
In-
like
yeah.
a small community, and yeah, half of it usually shows up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
all
it's
in all, Luxembourg is pretty like a sleepy place, and the majority of people are not death metal fans, unfortunately.
yeah. I'd say we have like not even 10 death metal bands in whole of Luxembourg, maybe more like 5 or something. And the guys who come to the shows are mostly those who are also in the other bands playing. So that's what it is.
Yeah, playing Germany is much more rewarding in terms
Yeah.
of death metal because there's an active scene. I mean, we haven't like toured the eastern parts of Germany as much, but I hear there's a really vibrant black metal scene over there. My sister lives in Erfurt, which is like a very black metal infested kind of town, apparently. So we played a gig in Berlin, which was all right.
It was sweet, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, to come back to your question, like the death metal scene where I come from is very elitist and exclusive. So they don't want you coming in there if you're like a hardcore kiddie and you start a mosh pit in front of the at a necrophagist gig or something like that. Which is a band that actually played a small festival next to my hometown. So there's an active metal scene. Those guys are called the Metal Maniacs. They put on a festival and everything. And if you go to a metal gig down there, it's usually about 100, 200 people. But they're they have their own little clubs. They have you don't really play death metal in a country club anymore. There's like youth centers, which are a big thing. So that's a circuit you can always tour because there's always teens listening to death metal who will show up in the youth center. So that's mostly the level we're at. So it's no big touring gigs unless you pay to play, which we hate.
Yeah.
So when I started listening to metal, Luxembourg was kind of big in they had a or at least I thought they had a rather vibrant black metal scene. They had some really interesting black metal bands. And there is this one band which I adore, which was one of the first extreme metal bands in the whole of Luxembourg. They're still around and we played with them countless times. They're called Testimonia. They're really great. I love them to hell and back. And
we all love them. They're our
so
death metal dads.
They're really great guys, and those I think they're really the biggest metal band in the whole of Luxembourg. Everybody knows them, and so at least everybody I talk to likes them. And the scene, while I've lived through it, I mean, there are people that have come and gone, and now there are younger people, but I think the numbers roughly stayed the same. It's just like some more old people wandered off, and for some people, the scene is not quote unquote true enough anymore. But yeah, so there are interesting things happening. We had a funeral doom band for a time, but they unfortunately split up, and we have some prog bands, some more genty stuff also. So you can see kind of the ebb and flow of some trends coming in Luxembourg, and then you have some bands which have stood the test of time, and nobody would question their right to be there.
Okay.
Was it like in Hamburg? Is there a lot of death metal in Hamburg? I mean, we only played there once, even though you lived there.
And it is exactly 3 years ago. It was on Karfreitag.
Yeah.
Yes, it was exactly 3 years ago.
Or
It was a
maybe
weird
2 or
gig.
3. I think exactly 3 years.
We got
Like on the day, 3 years.
So I have actually no idea. I think it's more black metal, but I'm not sure. I don't know a lot of local bands here.
There's a lot of black metal from Hamburg. I read that name a lot when I go through my YouTube algorithm black metal underground recommendations.
So when you go on tour, like Germany is usually the direction you head?
Mostly.
Usually.
Well,
Yeah.
tour. We usually go to a gig.
Yeah.
Except at one time where we went to 2 gigs, and that was in Switzerland. That was like the one real tour. It was like weekend, felt really toury. And if we if you would have made this like for a week or a month, I think you would all have died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really went overboard on that one.
Yeah, but we didn't know better and still don't know better. Yeah, we need to go on like a tour for like a week.
Yeah,
so
some,
by the end of
Then we try.
of the Switzerland gigs, I had to drive back to Hamburg because I had to work the next day, and it was like a 12-hour gig after like subsisting on, I don't know, 4 hours of sleep the 2 nights before. It was
12-hour gig.
no 12 hour drive back, and then like after the gigs, and that was not fun. But yeah, we mostly play one show, and then mostly in like the bigger region of Luxembourg. I think we have not been to Belgium yet, although it is really close. So maybe we should try to get there more.
Good plan.
Do they even listen to metal in Belgium?
Yeah, they do.
aborted.
Yeah, that's the only band I could think of where I know that.
They have another one, but I forgot the name.
There's tons of sludgy stuff from Belgium.
All right.
Isn't Amen Ra from Belgium?
Yeah, I think so. Or Netherlands,
Something like
somewhere
that.
around there.
All right. I think we got a couple questions. The other one I was actually when I was looking at the Bandcamp page, there was a quote on there that I was intrigued by. It said each song stands for itself, but they all have the same contextual root: the decay of the human mind and the outcome of its pride and lunacy. So it's kind of, is that kind of like that? I'm assuming that was for the album Legion that was for, since the EP is not up there yet. So was that kind of like a general thought process for like each of the songs on Legion, or is that like a theme?
No, it's actually like this description is from the very beginning, and it still counts though.
Yeah, I think it's
and it's you can explain it by like in every song we have this, like there are people, or sometimes mythological people, or even gods, but
humans.
Humanoid beings with human-like feelings and problems and lives and vices and what all. And I think, yeah, we stay true to that. In every story you have like people. It's about people and what they are thinking, what they are doing, their crimes or their
they're evil. So just I think in a big sense that humans are evil, and they're also good, of course, don't get me wrong, but that's the stuff we focus on. I'm like the guy who walks down the street and thinks of the million ways he could die right now just because my brain works like that. It's like so I'm a sunny side down kind of person, and when I look at the world and everything, I can only like view it from the perspective of a human being, of course. So I think it would be like in a way disingenuous to write like from the perspective of a tree or something like that, because I mean there's a lot of black metal bands like Agalog come to mind. They write a lot about nature and snow and fog, and I try incorporating those, but I always come at it from a perspective of like how does the snow make me feel as a human being, not like I don't go to abstract lengths like that to like feel myself into to like put myself into the shoes of something inanimate or stuff like that, because I don't think it's really it's not as valuable as like something you can tell from your own experience. And however we choose to dress it up, I mean, we have a song about like a Douglas Adams-esque like scenario where Feradur are a space band and we play on a huge battleship with weapons-grade speakers directed at a planet and destroyed with pure sonic power or something like that. But it's also a reflection of something like imperialism. Like we explore that idea on that song. So it has like a lighter side. It's kind of stupid and humorous at its base level, at its face value, but there's a lesson about human, how do you say it?
Nature.
Human nature, and greed, and, you know, just human emotions and how they dictate our lives and could, in some extremes, lead to very unpleasant results. And I think that's all very metal. So we try to stick to that formula,
Okay,
if you could call it that.
all right.
I think we're not the Cannibal Corpse or Larkus kind of gore types either, so that wouldn't really fit.
No, it's not very gory.
Yeah, we don't focus like on like one tiny detail of like of mutilation or snow. It's
Yeah.
always
It's episodic in a way too. That's the song. Every song stands for itself part of it also, because we always try to take a different perspectives. Especially since in the beginning we had like a small hit with Ragnarok,
Okay.
which was Viking themed, of course, because we really love Amon Amarth, and wanted to do one like that. And everyone started calling us Viking metal, and we hated it in a way because
Stupid.
it's not at all only Viking metal. The song starts with a song about opening Pandora's box, so there's mythological stuff in there. But then there's also one about pharmaceutical industry abusing the pharmaceutical industry's abuse of power or stuff like that. So they all show a little different pulpy episode of human mental decay.
Okay,
Something like that.
cool. One more question I have written for now is about promoting. I know I've heard various attitudes towards promoting the band on Facebook compared to other social platforms and other methods of promoting. I mean, I know the old school way of like actually going and handing out flyers, but not every place has a place where you can just go hand out your flyers. So, you can't go to another show and everything. So, I mean, how do you specifically deal with promoting your music and getting your name out there?
at the moment it's all internet because like you say, I can't go anywhere putting a flyer out there. That's like
We thought of maybe doing like a small guerrilla style sticker bombing action. Like-
locally, but it's I don't know.
That's as far as that goes at the
Yeah,
moment.
So like it's all in the internet, emails, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, everything we try to use and be heard, shoot out every hole and try to hit something.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for bands to have like a mailing list, like contacts to press, guys like you,
Mhm.
who are like covering metal because they love it, because there's
Exactly.
really no real financial incentive to make heavy metal music or like spread it across the masses. Like, it's just you're doing it for the love,
Yeah,
which
this
we
has
really
been
appreciate. And
this has been my hobby since
that's like the
1996.
folks we try to line up in our emails, like, hey, dude, I know you dug the last one. What do you think of this one? And just try to get it out there organically, like post on Metal Archives, hang out in the Discord on there. Make sure that we have a Twitter account and that Facebook posts to Twitter automatically, and the whole Zuckerberg headache of the page changing faces every few weeks.
Yeah, I think you're actually the very first band that ever sent me another album to review after the first one.
Huh.
I don't know why, but
Really?
yeah, it's like I remember the band. I looked it up on our site and I read the review, and then I saw you have an EP coming out, and I wanted to send it to somebody else to get like a different viewpoint, and she gave it a perfect score as well. So yeah, I mean, it's
which we thank her very much for.
yeah. So
you,
yeah,
Heather.
totally. So and she also one of the questions she wanted to ask is, when are you coming over to the United States to play?
Oh man. Oh man. So
Do
I
you
would
guys
love
have
to.
teleportation?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I'd love to. I mean, when so I think in some way Luxembourg is Feradur saturated at some point, because we have played to all the people there, or to mostly all the people who listen to metal there. So this
All
is
the
the one
interested
thing.
people.
Yeah. So everybody who wants to listen to Feradur in Luxembourg has already done so. And luckily we have all of us kind of spread out. So I'm living in Hamburg. Most of the guys are living in Cologne now, which is like a 5-hour drive from each other. And then again, a 2-hour drive from Luxembourg or so. So where we kind of, everyone created a new word to mouth scene for Feradur, and we kind of get around in those places now. And those are far from saturated. also because they're bigger. But at some point, it would be great to go to the other European countries like Switzerland or Belgium. We have been in France a little, but maybe also, I don't know, Italy and then the eastern part. And I would love to be in the US. I mean, I've been privately, I've been once, and I would love to go back and just see more of it from the nature side, from the people side. And yeah, sure, play gigs, meet new people, sell stuff.
I think it should
definitely.
be possible to get like a hookup at some point to like play a festival. I think that would be the start of our US career. If anything,
trying.
then it would happen probably on a 1 gig basis to like get the logistics into place, because to like do an entire tour, Black Flag style, across the entire country, I think that would cut way too deep into each of our times and resources. And like we maybe start small. You can go ask around if you like our music, and you know some folks out there in Wisconsin or wherever you're watching from that do a local festival or something.
Yeah.
Just ask us, and we might just actually come over.
Just turn up for it.
We
Drink all
do
beer.
have plenty. We do have a lot of festivals, that's for sure. I mean, there's always, if somebody wanted to go to watch a festival every weekend or whatever, there's probably multiple choices they can choose from to go see metal festivals. So
That sounds healthy.
I need the name of all of those. I'm keeping a spreadsheet with festivals like like nationally, internationally, and all across the world. And I like once a year I write to almost all of them.
Okay.
If they have a place left, I'm really just knocking on every door. And
yeah, I mean, I can definitely send you a list of ones that I know of offhand if you want to hit them up.
Hell yeah,
that would be great. Yeah, sure.
So I mean, I mean, with the United States being quite large in size, whatever, it depends. You know, get to the East Coast, you get the West Coast, and
yeah,
I'm like right in the middle on the north middle, Midwestern they call it. So yeah, it all depends on where you want to go and if you're going to want to play other shows while you're over here.
Well, I think I kind of think that if you go over for one show, then maybe it's kind of, I wouldn't say too much of a hassle, but it's hard to say like, okay, we'll have like I don't know, 8-hour flight over there with all our stuff, play a gig, like let's
Fly
say
back immediately after.
Yeah, like
I mean, we should
play a 90-minute gig and then fly back. I don't think that's going to work particularly well. So I think if we find something in the US, then we should maybe try to make it a multi-day thing.
Let's
like a small tour.
Yeah.
Always
Wisconsin tour.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
One-time gig is always, you have to travel far, and then you got this one gig, so it's not really, doable. But that's always, I think it always starts with you have to have, your contact persons. You always have to have that one guy who just introduces you to the locations, to the friends, to I don't know, so you can get started.
Who knows where the fast food restaurants are.
Right.
So yeah. So and then there's always this one possibility where you can say, yeah, well, each of us has work or like other stuff to do. So if you can find this one chunk of time, like for a week or 10 days, like, so you can say, yeah, well, let's just book, in advance. You can say, oh, that's our, time frame, and in that time frame you can, we can talk to a guy overseas, and he's like, okay, I can organize that. I talk to this club, I talk to this festival, I can talk to those guys. So you can all fit together, in this time frame. So that would be doable, I guess. But yeah, always for bands flying over to play one show is like.
I think there's also the problem that when you like. We have never been in the US. The people don't know our live shows. And for a booker or a promoter, this is a huge risk because they don't know if we're going to pull 10 people or if there's nobody there. And then if we're playing in front of an empty house, then there is a lot of costs which are being kind of rolled onto their laps. And what I can understand when they say, well, can you promise me you'll pull 100 people? And if we can say, no, we don't know anybody in Wisconsin, then it's like, well, tough luck. Come back next time.
Yeah, we'd have to do something like pay Hypocrisy like $1 million when they release their new thing, and then
Gojira.
just hitch a ride on their bus.
Yeah, if you came with them, I'd totally come watch you.
I'm
would
really
watch
stoked
that.
for the new Hypocrisy stuff, by the way. Apparently, it's going to be very different, but I know I'm optimistic. I love Tedgren, great guy.
Cool. Well, that concludes all my questions. So I'll probably do the cutoff of the recording about now or whatever. I actually got a warning before saying